Hello, this is Archie Dunlop with Talking Astrology with Archie on Tuesday, April the 11th, 2023. Today I want to talk a little about Satanism. I mean, why not? So Satanism on the surface would seem to be about the worship of Satan. Maybe having black masses, conjuring up devils, doing bad things for the sake of it. However, there is an alternative view, that Satanism is about freedom, doing what we want without moral constraint. Now, doing what we want is not necessarily evil. And one thinks of Aleister Crowley's view that do as thou wilt shalt be the whole of the law. My understanding of that, having read his book Diary of a Drug Fiend, is that it's about discovering what one's true will is on this planet, what one is supposed to be doing. And then once we realize what our true will is, going and doing it, and nothing should be able to stop us. And perhaps there's a link with Satanism. Satanism is about not being constrained perhaps by bourgeois morality, by Christian morality, by feelings of guilt. And this brings me on to what I want to talk about today, that it is Anton Lavey's birthday, or at least it would have been if he was still alive, and he was born on April the 11th, 1930, which would be, if I've got that right, that would be 93 years ago. Yeah, he was born 93 years ago. And Anton Lavey founded the Church of Satan in 1966. And he wrote a number of books, including the Satanic Bible. And I want to have a quick look at his horoscope. It is his birthday, just for fun, see what we can see. So that is what I'm going to do before I look at today's stars and before I look at today's I Ching reading. So let's have a look at Anton Lavey's horoscope. Now there's Anton Lavey. You can see he's a bit of a showman, and I think that was part of what he did. It was all a big show, and you can imagine 1966 in San Francisco when he started the Church of Satan. That's when San Francisco was a really happening place. So if we look at his chart, we see that he's an Aries, Sun in Aries. That kind of fits with the do as thou wilt shalt be the whole of the law concept of Satanism. It's about doing what we want, without being constrained by all of those moral ties that can hold us back. So yeah, that makes sense. Though what is interesting is he also has a moon in Virgo. Now, I don't really associate moon in Virgo with Satanism, really. I mean, moon in Virgo is kind of too organized for that, perhaps. And maybe this is talking about him, the showman, him actually having to organize a show. I think he did public rituals and whatever. I don't really know much about him, by the way, but he did these public rituals. He had these public events. Maybe they were very carefully organized, and that was perhaps part of his success. Also, elemental balance. As I've said, I always like to look at elemental balance in his chart. Now, I've got a load of hypothetical planets in here, but we can see that if I might temporarily take some of these hypothetical planets out, just to give you not to clutter up the chart so much. There we go. That's not so cluttered. We can see that he has a lot of planets in Earth: Saturn, Moon, Mercury, Venus. I suppose the Earth signs do have a connection with Satanism. The goat, the earth, fertility gods, that kind of thing. Satan, I think one of the titles of Satan is Lord of the Earth. Really putting a big emphasis on, on material reality, in the here and now. It's what I want now. So perhaps that fits. And then you've got a bit of fire, but he has got a bit of water, but the earth dominates his chart. But there isn't much air there. But so he just wants to put forward his ideas, perhaps without analysing and hesitating. I'm a Gemini. I'm always analysing and hesitating, and how does this sound? And he didn't perhaps have those kind of hesitations. So that tells us something about his horoscope. Now, there is the question: is why? What is there that really tells us that this is the man that set up the Church of Satan? What is the key point about this chart that indicates it? I'm not sure if I can really tell you for sure, but I'm reminded, which I've mentioned this before, is that I'm reminded of the astrologer Charles Harvey's idea that the sun-moon midpoint is really important. You need to look at what planets are aspecting the sun-moon midpoint. When I say aspecting, I mean conjunction, square, opposition, semi-square, sesquiquadrate, i.e. the aspects that are 1/8 of the circle in that series. So not trines and sextiles. So with this chart, we ask, what planet is aspecting the sun-moon midpoint? Now, if you just look at that chart straight, you see there's the sun, there's the moon, there's the sun. Well, maybe, I don't know, is Pluto aspecting it? I don't know, can't really see anything going on there. That's why it's useful to look at the chart in another way and look at the midpoints. And what you actually find is that the sun-moon midpoint is around 8. It's around 8 Cancer, and you can see that there's not much, nothing square, nothing opposition, nothing conjunct. And then you throw in the hypothetical planets. So what happens when you throw in the hypothetical planets? And there you have it. You can see that he has Hades making a I think that's a square aspect to the sun-moon midpoint, and the Hades is also making a 45-degree aspect to the ascendant. So he has got Hades aspecting the ascendant, and both Hades and the ascendant are on the sun-moon midpoint. So in the way people saw him, and the way he occurred to people, he was a very Hades personality. And Hades is about the underworld. It's about dealing with things that other people can't deal with. And I think maybe he personified Hades in what he was doing, and that was perhaps a big part of who he was. So in general, always when you're looking at a chart, you've got to look at the sun-moon midpoint. If it's difficult to work out, that's no excuse. You just got to find it, find the aspects of a sun-moon midpoint, because if you don't have it, you're not going to make sense of it. And as Charles Harvey pointed out, with the chart horoscope of Janis Joplin, a lot of astrologers have found it difficult to make sense of Capricorn. She's a Capricorn, but her chart didn't really make much sense. And Charles Harvey, I think he cited an astrologer who was not making much sense of Janis Joplin's chart, and he said, yeah, in fact, Janis Joplin had Jupiter on the Sun-Moon midpoint, and that really summed her up. She was a larger-than-life, I forget the precise word she used, something like super hypermost. So certainly with Janis Joplin, look at the Sun-Moon midpoint. And I think with Anton Lavey, maybe we can get something by looking at his Sun-Moon midpoint and noticing that Hades is on it. And I'm sure that, you can imagine San Francisco 1966 going to one of Anton Lavey's events. There must have been a real Hades feel to it. So now let's look at the horoscope for today. So main theme, there's a conjunction between the Sun and Jupiter. It's happened, and I do have mixed feelings about this conjunction, as I've been saying. We have big ideas, a lot of us. A lot of us have really big ideas. We want to expand in particular ways. We want to do wonderful things, but do we really know what we're doing? I think this may suggest over-optimism. And yeah, it's fun. It's great to have these big ideas, but we have to be careful because they simply may not be realistic. And this Sun-Jupiter midpoint is... it's on, if you look at hypotheticals, it's actually on the Hades Vulcanus midpoint. And Hades is about, the underside of life. Vulcan is about great power. And this might mean that we have to deal with problems. Yeah, we might have these big ideas, but they might go wrong. And hopefully we can stop ourselves from making a big mistake at the last moment. And this Sun-Jupiter midpoint is also on the Uranus-Neptune midpoint. And Ebertin describes Uranus-Neptune as elimination of a waking consciousness. So hopefully when we've got these big ideas, we're not drinking, we're not taking drugs, we're not doing stuff which makes us have crazy ideas which are just going to destroy us. So we have to be very careful. Big ideas are not going to solve our problems on their own. They do need to be grounded. Now, while all this is going on, Venus has changed sign. Venus has moved from Taurus to Gemini. This is a big change. Venus is, as I said yesterday, it's a very sensual planet. When it's in Taurus, it's quite stable, and now it's in Gemini. Things are a bit more crazy, and particularly if you're a Venus-ruled sign like Libra or Taurus, you're going to be more, perhaps a bit more tense. Perhaps you're going to find it more difficult to stay in one place. And it's not really about loyalty, but might also be about intensity, though, because Venus, the moment it moves into Gemini, it makes a trine with Pluto. So in terms of relationships, that could suggest great intensity and great passion. So maybe there's a bit of fun there, but danger as well. And I should also point out that the moon is changing sign. You will see that the moon is coming right to the end of Sagittarius, and then it is moving into Capricorn. That sign change happens at 8:33 p.m. I believe today in Moscow, at 6:33 p.m. in London, at 1:33 p.m. in New York, and 10:33 a.m. if you're in, for example, Los Angeles or Seattle. So that's where the sign change comes, and you might find that actually before, depends where you're living, but before the sign change, You may be wondering, what's happening? Where are things going? It might feel that nothing is happening, but then you get the sign change. The moon moves into Capricorn, and all of a sudden the energy changes. We become, I think, more serious, more selfish. We're no longer thinking about our crazy ideas. We're thinking about how are we going to pay for things. Are our own financial interests, our family interests, are they all under control? Are they being looked after? And perhaps we now need to be a bit selfish. Now, as far as the 12 signs are concerned, here you go. Aries, 5 stars. Ambitions come together. Taurus, 4 stars. You're very persuasive. That is because Venus, your ruler, your sun sign ruler, is trine Pluto. Gemini, partners are confused, and so are you. I say that because the opposite sign to Gemini is Sagittarius. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter is conjunct the Sun, and Sun causes confusion. Cancer, 4 stars. A great day. Cancer, 3 stars. Other people matter. Leo, 4 stars. A great day for Leos, and perhaps a lucky escape. Virgo, 1 star. What you see is not what you get. Libra, 5 stars. Passion, fun, and perhaps intrigue. Scorpio, 2 stars. You're the most bored person in the room. I said bored, not boring. I didn't say you're the most boring person in the room. I said you're the most bored person in the room. Sagittarius, 2 stars. Things aren't clear. Capricorn, 4 stars. It's coming your way. Aquarius, 5 stars. You can relax. And Pisces, 1 star. So easy to fool yourself. Be careful with money. So that's it with astrology. And so we will now consider the I Ching. As always, I cast the oracle. I was asking what is going to happen to anyone visiting this channel on Tuesday today. And what did I get? That's a mountain. I got hexagram number 20, which is contemplation. And the image of this is the mountain standing still. And it was locked. It doesn't move anywhere. So what this I Ching tells us is that today, Tuesday, is not a day for actually doing anything. We just need to contemplate. We need to see what we've achieved. We need to survey the environment, and we need to see what lessons there are. So don't take action. Be strong. So if you find that there's a bit of chaos around you, don't necessarily react to it. Just stand on your own 2 feet and just watch, and don't be pushed into taking action that you don't want to take, because in most cases action is not going to get you anywhere. So very simple. It's not a bad hexagram. It's not an exciting hexagram. So just stay still, review your plans, and I think you'll be fine. Anyway, that is that's all I'm going to say for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow.